Welcome back to this last week of Advent for 2020. Just a word for the good people of Winchester Community United Methodist Church. We will host an outdoor Christmas Eve service at 12 noon on December the 24th. And then the following Sunday, the last Sunday of December, we will not host a service. And we encourage everyone to watch the worship service that was put together by the bishop. And all the information on that is in the Christmas letter you received, as well as several other places. And so I trust you'll do that. Brennan Manning, before his death a few years ago, was one of my favorite speakers for many years. I loved his stories. I also enjoyed reading his books, but mainly I really enjoyed him speaking live. And he told a story about something that happened to him a Christmas season of 1977. He was sitting in the O'Hare Airport in Chicago. All the flights were canceled due to fog and freezing rain. The airport terminal was bedlam. Thousands of people clustered at ticket counters, demanding departure times, Christmas children crying, public address system blaring. And Manning admitted that he was tense and he was apprehensive, and he needed to get to Texas to start a retreat the next day. Directly across from him, there was a middle-aged black woman with a child cradled in her arms, and the woman was just sitting there laughing. The world was collapsing, thousands of stranded people, and this dear lady was sitting there laughing. Irritated, but also intrigued, Manning began watching her interacting with the child in her arms. Finally, she looked up and caught him staring. "Ma'am," he said, "every other person here tonight is rattled and miserable, including me. Would you mind telling me why you are so happy?" "Sure," she said, "Christmas is coming. And that baby Jesus, he makes me laugh." That interaction caused Manning to examine himself. Had he gotten so serious that he lost the childlike aspect of faith? Jesus said the kingdom is like a little child. In order to come to the kingdom, one must be a child. You want to become a Christian? You want to come to faith in Jesus? You have to do it as a child. That baby Jesus, he makes me laugh. The events leading to the birth of Jesus usually includes mention of two babies. One is John, later known as the Baptist. His father was Zechariah, and when an angel told Zechariah about the impending birth of his son, the angel said to him, "He will be a joy and delight to you, and many will rejoice because of his birth." You can find that in Luke chapter 1, verse 14. Now, news about the second baby, Jesus, was reported to a group of shepherds by an angel who told them, "Do not be afraid. I bring you good news of great joy that will be for all the people." Good news of great joy. One of the things I used to do, cannot do it recently, was visit young couples in the hospital after they've had a baby born. And over I would see these couples, maybe they're feeling a little bit stressed even about this new baby, but over and over, they would tell me, "We are blessed. This baby is a source of joy. I bring you good news of great joy that will be for all the people." In A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, there's a sequence involving the ghost of Christmas Present in which he conducts Ebenezer Scrooge through a series of Christmas gatherings, including a group of miners gathered in a small hut, two men whose job it was to watch a lighthouse, a group of sailors at sea, but also the homes of his clerk, Bob Cratchit, also the home of his nephew Fred. Various settings with one thing in common, all celebrating Christmas in their own joyous ways. That baby Jesus, he makes me laugh. Two babies, John and Jesus. They grow up, they happen to be cousins. The Bible never revealed how much interaction they had during their years of growing up, but once they were adults, they are very significantly connected. John became the one crying in the wilderness, "Prepare the way of the Lord." In John 3, there's a significant event in which John revealed to his disciples the relationship between him and Jesus. Remember, John became known as the Baptist because his mission was that of stirring up repentance among the Jewish people in and around the region of Jerusalem and baptizing those who repented. In this chapter, John the Apostle reported that Jesus and his disciples then began baptizing people. Some of John's followers questioned him about this. "Rabbi, that man who was with you on the other side of the Jordan, the one you testified about, well, he is baptizing and everyone is starting to go to him." And John's response was a response of humility. A person can receive only what is given from heaven. You yourselves can testify that I said I am not the Messiah, but is sent ahead of him. The bride belongs to the bridegroom. We, the church, we're the bride. Jesus is the bridegroom. The friend who attends the bridegroom waits and listens for him and is full of joy when he hears the bridegroom's voice. That joy is mine and is now complete. He must become greater. I must become less. What words of humility from John the Baptist as he used this imagery of a wedding. And I've performed quite a few weddings over the years. And I was at one church where my daughter became one of the part-time wedding coordinators. And at one particular wedding where she was the coordinator, the couple had an abundance of flower girls and junior bridesmaids who took the job of distributing petals very seriously. And they distributed those petals all over the church. The flower petal cleaning crew was on hands and knees picking them up. So if you find any time in your church you find a stray petal, you know what was going on there. But weddings then were very different. They lasted for 7 days of feasting and celebrating. At that wedding I mentioned where my daughter was the wedding coordinator, her comment afterwards was, that was a lot of work for a 20-minute ceremony. Jesus said to his disciples, "These things I have spoken to you, that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be full." Some translations say complete. Complete joy. In this series, we've said that Jesus' birth was a time when we were touched by eternity. And each week in this series, I've mentioned one of the gifts that Jesus brought with him. And so we talked about love, peace. This week, that gift is joy. We were touched by eternity, and that brought to us joy, this incredible joy. Now, joy is notoriously unpredictable because it is experienced in the most unusual ways under the most unusual circumstances. And of course, you've heard me say before, rejoicing is when you put your joy in motion. Not long ago, a friend of mine sent me a message on Facebook telling me that she missed skipping because when I was pastor of the church she was involved in, that was something we used to do. We'd even do it in our worship services, skip, because skipping is a joyous, joyous experience. In fact, just this past week on the radio, I heard There was a study done by a university in the San Francisco area that determined that people who skip are happier. There's something about skipping, and I guarantee you, you try skipping, and it's going to put a smile on your face. You can't skip and be miserable. When you skip, you smile. Joy, rejoicing. Jesus brought us that. That baby Jesus, he makes me laugh. Who are the beloved? Go and be the beloved.